Hey guys, so it's been long postponed. Wait, hold on. Maybe the lighting is a little bit bad. Okay. Oh my god, it's better now. Oh my god, it's better now. Anyway, so today I'm going to tell you guys the story that I promised I was going to tell yesterday. But anyway, I was a little bit tired and I wanted to get the proper energy to tell the story because it was a long. It's not a long story, but a lot of things happened. Okay, so I found the perfect moment today to tell the story the way that it should be told. So anyway, a bit of context, right? I wanted to join this association where we basically organized events for foreign students that came from other European countries. And I thought that the idea was really cool because I had never been in that association, but I found out about that association, at the beginning of this year, through a friend of mine who was a foreign student, and she told me about it, and we found a couple of volunteers. Like, well, we didn't find them, we stumbled upon them on the street, and she introduced me to them and stuff. And it seemed really cool because they would go to all these parties, they would organize them for for foreign students. And um mm, and here's the thing, I had always wanted something like that. I didn't know that existed, but if I had known that it existed, I would have joined so long ago. Because I there was a time where I well there was a time there was a semester where I was hanging out with a bunch of foreign students from different countries, and we would hang out to play cards and stuff. And I thought it was really, really fun. And I always wanted to experience this, like, multicultural, multi background, group, where everybody comes from a different country, and they share like different experiences and stuff, and we all have different opinions, and, like, you know what I mean, but we have like common things because, like, we're from the same, like, generation, whatever, you know what I mean. Like, I always wanted this thing. And I also, like, apart from like making videos and stuff like that and talking alone, because I do that sometimes, I haven't done it so much now. Like, I'm surprised I'm still fluent in English because I don't talk to anyone in English, and I'm not even talking alone anymore. So, like, and I wasn't even making videos like a few weeks ago. So, it's weird. But anyway, and I wanted to talk to other people in English because, like, okay, I talk alone and it's the way that I learned the language, and of course I make videos and all that, but obviously it's very different from having a bilateral thing with someone, talking to someone and, having them talk back to you, not talk back, but like respond, And long story short, I thought that was really cool. So fast forward to the semester, I join. And the selection process, or the recruiting process, was a little bit more complicated than I thought it was going to be. Everybody thought, that it was going to be less complicated. We had to send our CV, we had to send a cover letter, and we had to fill a Google form. And then they scheduled a little bit of time to, like, interview us. And it was like it was not like what would you call it, like a group interview? No, but like they would gather us. We were like, I don't know, let's say 20 people. And they did 4 interviews. So I went to one of them because, we were too many. And we were 20 people in the interview that I went to. And they would interview us one by one. Like, they would call us and they would interview us, and they would ask us questions that were kind of similar to the ones that they ask you, in job interviews, which was a little bit weird to me because I was like, this is a student association, right? But at the same time, I understand it because it's like, has my accent changed? I don't know. I can notice a little bit of a thing. And anyway, so I hate that. Dude, I worked on my accent for so many years. I hate to lose it. But anyway, and I have not lost it, and I don't want to lose it now. Anyway, so it was weird to me. I was like, okay, they're, like, this is serious. You know what I mean? Like, they don't ask, like, dumb questions like, where are you from? What do you like to do? I thought it was going to be something like that. Like, they ask you, like, really simple questions, and they just want to, like, analyze you psychologically to see if, like, if you're trustworthy, or if you're, I don't know, like, if you're not, like, a weirdo or whatever, If they don't, I guess they wanted to see if they wouldn't suspect anything from you. I don't freaking know. Like, if you had any, like, weird, like, traits or whatever. And that's it. Fast forward a few days later, they were like, okay, you're in. The next selection, recruiting, whatever process thing is, we're going to spend 2 weeks, we're going to do activities every day. So go to as many activities as you can. And I was like, okay, as many as I can, not as many as there are. So what I did was as many as there were, because I was going to have time. I was just starting my PhD. So I was like, I'm going to go to everything. So almost every day I would join every single activity. Like, I would join at least, sometimes there was more than one activity per day, but I was like, I'm just gonna join one or two, like if I can. And that's it, because right now I can. I'm not gonna be able to later on, but right now I can, so it's cool. And there was people who joined less activity. So I'm gonna tell my experience, and I'm also gonna tell like the experiences that I've seen other people, have, and all that stuff. And so that's it. Everything was fine. Everything was normal. But the thing is, like, what I would notice is that they would tell us to do things just, just like that. You know what I mean? Like, I remember the first activity that I wwent to, it was a party, and I was like, is there something we have to do? Like, is there something, because I arrived like on time, but not like 5 minutes earlier, because we had to be there allegedly 5 minutes earlier. And I was like, is there anything that you guys said? Like, is there anything I have to do or whatever? And they were like, no, like, it's, just call them and tell them we're going to this place. And I was like, I literally just arrived here. I literally just came here. I'm 5'3". Like, there's people who are so much taller than me. Like, there's girls who are taller than me. There's guys who are twice as tall as me. I'm not even kidding. And you're telling me that I just came here. I don't even have an identification that tells them that I'm a volunteer or whatever in this association. And like, how are they going to listen to me telling them, hey guys, we're going to this place? I'm going to have to yell at them as if they were fucking cattle. And like, I literally just came here. You want me to do that? I mean, it's not the hardest thing in the world, but like, it's not the easiest thing either. So, and there was things like that. There was a lot of things. I don't know how to tell this in order. So there was a lot of things that were not really organized. Like, there was a time where, a week later, there was a time where we went to a party. We didn't have to, but we went to a party, and they were telling us, okay, so there's like a, what do you call it? Like a security guy that like, tells people like, hey, like, listen, this is a foreigner student only party, so you can't get in. So locals couldn't get in except for us. And so that guy was going to be there up until 3 a.m. Right? So the volunteers told us like, okay, another friend of mine and me, well, we met there. Like, we literally started hanging out. We became friends because we were, two of the, I don't know how many people who would go to every single event. So, I'm going to tell the, okay, I'm remembering how to tell the story properly. Okay. So we were there, and they were like, okay, so the guy is going to be there up until 3 a.m. So you're gonna have to be here. But the thing is, like, it was 3 a.m. or I don't know, 2:30 or something like that, like around that time, and the security guy was not leaving. He was still there. So it's like we had to like doorkeep, like we had to be like the doorkeepers or whatever he does. Like, we had to be like the security and ask people if they were foreigners or not. And first of all, the security guy was still there. So what is the point in us being there? And second of all, around the time that guy had to leave, supposedly, which he didn't, like, the entrance or just going there was free to everyone. Like, locals could get in, foreigners could get in, like, anyone could get in. So, like, it was pointless for us to stay there at the door, just standing there, like, and there was, like, little bracelets that they had to wear. Well, I'm not going to show, I was going to show one, but I can't because I'm going to dox myself. We had the little bracelets to give foreigner students so that they could get in. But it's like, it's pointless to have the freaking bracelets here because like now everybody can get in. So it's like, do you know what I mean? Like, we didn't understand that, but we were like, okay, we have to do what these people are telling us. Like, we have to show like interest and all that stuff. So we were like, okay, this makes no sense, but we're going to do, they were observing us all the time because we were in the recruiting, whatever process. And we were like, okay, we're just going to do what we're told, but this makes no freaking sense. Okay. And then apart from that, there was also a time where there was a trip. I ended up not going because I got sick that day. But I remember we were going hiking, right? And I Googled the place because I had never gone there. And there was a beach there. So, like, it was a route that you go to, and then there's a beach at the end of the route. And I was like, I guess we're not, like, they would tell us if we were going to the beach, like, if they, if they wanted us to prepare and all that stuff. And listen, let me tell you something. When you're a woman, when you're a man, you can do whatever you want. Some men shave, other men don't. You're free to do whatever you want. I don't care. But when you're a woman, what is normally accepted, or what is generally expected from you, actually, is that you have to shave everywhere. How far? Well, as far as people can see. Like, whatever people can see at the beach, you have to shave that. You have to be hairless, okay? And I was not hairless. So I was like, I guess we're not gonna go to the beach because they should have told us. I assumed that. I shouldn't have, but they also should have told us because there was this guy who, I don't remember who it was, but it doesn't matter. There was a guy who asked at 2 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m., okay? Like, people would send messages late and it was totally fine. Ain't nobody was complaining about that. There was this guy who was like, wait, so we're going hiking, but like we're going to this beach, so that means that we have to like bring like snacks with us and all that stuff. Like, we have to bring in food because we're probably gonna stay all day, and we're also gonna go to the beach and we're gonna play games at the beach and all that stuff. He asked that long ass question, and then there was one of the volunteers was like, yes. That means yes to everything. And I was like, I was awake at that hour. If I hadn't been awake at that hour, I wouldn't have known. So I was like, I'm going to have to get up earlier to shave everything, which takes a long time for me. I don't know about you guys, but I take a long time to shave. It takes a long time, okay? Everybody has a different amount of hair, but it takes a long time for me. So I'm going to have to get up really fucking early in the morning to shave because these people didn't tell me. I could have done it the night before or the afternoon before or the morning before, you know? And they didn't tell me. I was so pissed off. Then I ended up waking up and I had a fever. So I was like, okay, not going anyway. Okay, cool. But I had to get up, tell them, and then I went back to sleep. I was like, oh, well, you know. But the thing is, like, they didn't tell us. And the thing is, like, they had another group chat for all the foreigner students, and they tell them everything. And I knew that since fucking years ago, because I have been told by the students, the foreign students themselves, like, they tell you everything that we're gonna do. You know, at this hour, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that, whatever. You have to bring this, you have to bring that, and whatever. You know, they tell you everything. And they wouldn't tell us anything. Like, we're going hiking. They didn't tell us we were going to the beach. We're going to play sports. They didn't tell us if it was a match, if it was just practice, if it was just fun, whatever. They wouldn't tell us anything. They wouldn't tell us anything. We would have to ask things. And it's like, it's okay. Like, we ask whatever we don't know. That's cool. But they wouldn't tell us what the fuck to do. We were like fucking headless chicken the whole time. We didn't know what the fuck was going on the whole time. You know? That was one thing. Another thing was the fact that, and I'm not talking shit about this association. I should have, you know, explained this as a disclaimer. I'm not talking shit about anyone here. I'm not mentioning any names. I'm not referring to anyone in particular right now. I'm not laughing at these people. I'm not insulting these people. I'm not mocking these people. I'm not laughing at them. Like, that's not my intention. I'm literally just telling everything as it happened because, I don't know, I feel like this would be important to talk about. And I think it's kind of a funny story. Like, it ended up sort of badly, but I think it's kind of funny, like, you know, from a perspective, from a distance. I don't know. Anyway, so I just wanted to tell the story. Anyway, so the way that, here's the thing, there wasn't room for a lot of people to be volunteers. That's why they were, you know, testing us to see how we would do and all that stuff, because years ago they weren't that demanding with volunteers. Everybody would get in. But now they're more demanding because there isn't room for everyone, just for a few people. And they, you know, you have to be talkative. They have to see you talking to, you know, to volunteers, to foreign students all the time, you know, these people, these other people, this group, this other group, whatever. Like, they have to see you talking to people. They have to see you interacting. You know what I mean? They have to see you helping. We were helping. We were talking to as many people as we could. But we can't talk to everyone all the time, because it's not like, okay, I go to this person, I talk to them 5 minutes, and then I go to this other group, I talk to them 5 minutes. That's so unsustainable. I'm not going to remember anyone's name. I'm not going to remember who anyone is, you know? Like, and it's also like, okay, I talk to you, I ask you a few questions for 5 minutes, and then it's like, okay, I have to go. It's kind of like telling you, okay, go fuck yourself. I'm going to go to talk to another group. You know what I mean? Like, it's less personal. You know, we tried to, like, sort of bond with people as we were talking to them. But anyway, I don't know what was expected from us, but we're talking to someone all the time. That's for sure. Anyway, the way that they would reject people. Okay, they rejected some people right after the interview. They rejected some people, like, along the weeks that I was there. And the way that they... Listen, I did human resources as a subject in college. I know that in real life they don't do these things. You know, they tell you that you should be polite and you should treat your people well and whatever, but we all know that that's not always the case. So let's start there. There's a difference between, like, being probably not that ethical, not that whatever, and, like, being passive aggressive and blaming it on people. You know what I mean? Like, you are demanding because there isn't room for everybody to be here. Okay. And these people were, like, blaming the volunteers, or the aspiring, I guess, volunteers, whenever they would kick them out. Like, there was one girl who they were like, okay, your attitude, like, we're deciding, like, that you're no longer gonna be part of this association because your attitude is not the best and it doesn't align with us, and it's just not the proper attitude that you have to be here. I never saw, like, that girl is a friend of mine. I never saw that she had a negative attitude. She always had a positive attitude. She's so outgoing. She's so funny. She's so lively, lively or lively, I don't know. And I don't know, she has so much willingness to learn, to interact with people, to, kind of like to make the party like more fun and stuff. Like, she is one of the most fun people I've ever met in real life. I'm serious. I'm more of a serious person. Like, the way I'm talking to you guys right now is the way that I usually talk. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't have that much charisma. And this girly pops is like one of the people with the most charisma I've ever met in my life. And because she joked twice to this girl who I'm going to talk about right now, she said something like jokingly, you know what I mean? Like, we were wearing glitter, like, in our faces and stuff, and we were giving other people, like, we were putting glitter on foreigner students' faces, on the faces of these people. And we had to wear the glitter ourselves because it's like, okay, you're putting glitter on people, you don't want to put it on, okay, we're putting it on. So the girl who ended up being kicked out, like, there was this volunteer who told her, like, hey, can I put, like, this, should I put, glitter on you, or do you want to do it yourself? And she was like, no, put it on me, it's fine. And she jokingly said, but don't do anything, like, asymmetric or whatever. But, like, there's a difference between, like, obviously, like, it depends on the person who does the joke. I don't joke a lot because I feel like, because I'm a little bit more serious, like, people can think that I'm not even kidding, or that I'm not kidding, so I usually don't make jokes like that. But in her case, like, it was totally obvious that it was a joke. Like, she was just joking around. Like, obviously, you're not gonna do something messy on purpose, right? And she was like, no, we don't do anything messy here. Like, we're good at what we do. Or I don't remember what she said, but it was like, girly, it was a joke. Anyway, and this same girly pops, she's not a girly pops. The first time I saw her, I was like, I don't know, I have this sort of, like, intuition. Like, I saw her eyes and I was like, this girly is trouble. This girly is no good. Okay? Like, she may look like a good person, but the eyes, Chico, they say a lot. So there was a few times where she was passive aggressive. I have to say this. She was never passive aggressive with me. At least I don't remember that. She was never passive aggressive with me. She never told me anything passive aggressive, but I've seen her saying passive aggressive shit to other people. I remember I was talking to this girl from the Czech Republic, and then this other girl, the volunteer, came along, and she introduced herself to her, and she was like, hey, my name is yada yada, whatever. And we were sitting down and she was standing up, so, and there was no place to sit down or whatever. So the normal thing is that when somebody comes along and you're sitting down, you stand up and either you give them a hand, or you do one kiss or two kisses or three, depending on the country or whatever. And the Czech girl did not stand up. I would have, but I don't blame her. It's fine. Like, this is it's not a crime. Do you know what I mean? Like, she didn't stand up, but it's fine. And so they gave each other their hands. They did a handshake. What the fuck? They gave each other their hand. They did a handshake, and then the passive aggressive girl was like, you know what? In this country, we give people, like, 2 kisses in the cheek, so you're gonna have to get used to that. You are literally just introducing yourself to someone, and you're already calling them out for something that is not even that crazy. You're already calling them out for something. You think that person's gonna like you? That person was not even rude. Like, maybe they were a little bit not too civilized or whatever, but you know what I mean? Like, if you introduce yourself to people, talking to them like that, okay, maybe they're gonna respect you, but there's a difference between respecting you and like you. Maybe people respect you. Maybe people are gonna have their distance or whatever. Not so much because they respect you, but because they don't like you. Because you're passive aggressive from the start, right off the bat. And so, right off the bat, is that how you say it? Anyway, so, do you know what I mean? And another thing, whenever I don't know, let's say you sign up for an activity, you have to sign up, like, in advance, like days in advance. And there were times where, for instance, I was like, okay, the activity got, let's say, anticipated 2 hours. but I'm working. I can't go 2 hours earlier. So I tell them, hey, at the end, because you guys anticipated it or whatever, because it got anticipated, I can't go because of work, whatever. So, and I would say that. And everything is fine, cool. And then there was other people who also for work reasons or maybe something happened or whatever, like they couldn't go and everything is fine. You just tell them and that's okay. Like I always would tell them, and I would always tell them like, hey, listen, like if you don't go, you have to tell them, because they expect that you're gonna be there. That's why you did a Google form saying I'm gonna be there. So you have to tell them, okay, at the end I'm not gonna be there, and there was people who listen. These people are not your parents. This is not work. This is not school. If you're not going, you can just say, listen, I cannot go for whatever reason. You don't really have to give any explanations. But there was a person who was like, no, at the end of the day, I'm not going to be able to come tonight to this party. I'm sorry. And then there was one person who, I don't remember who it was, but there was a volunteer who was like, you know what, like, thanks for telling us, but next time you have to tell us 2 days in advance and you have to give a reason. This is not work. This is not school. Like I said, you're not my parent. What the fuck is going on? Also, like, I mean, 2 days in advance. I just found out today that I can't go. What do you mean 2 days in advance? Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes things happen last minute. You know what I mean? And you have to give them the reason. You have to give them the reason. It was a personal thing. Like, it was a personal matter. It was a personal whatever happened. I don't know. Like, I don't have to tell you. What if my dog died and I don't want to say it? What if I got an injury that I got in a questionable way? Maybe it was a whatever the heck it is. You don't have to tell the reason. It's an important reason and that's it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just like, I can't fathom it. You know what I mean? And there was this guy who canceled 3 things that he was going to. He canceled because of fucking work. And the same girl who was passive aggressive, she was like, you've already not come to 3 things that you were coming to. So, you know what I mean? Like, you know what that means? Like, you can get kicked out. She didn't say it, but she was like, you missed 3 activities. And it's like, I couldn't go. Do you know what I mean? And they would kick out people like in this passive aggressive way. Like there was another girl who they told her that the foreign students and the other volunteers didn't like the way that she would talk to them. And then she was like, okay, maybe it is my fault. Maybe it is true. And she was like sad for, I don't know, for a day or two. And then she saw that the foreign students that she was talking to and whatever, they would text her asking her stuff and whatever. Like even when she was kicked out, like these people kept contacting her. One of them like had coffee with her one day and all that stuff. Like we found her one day, like after everything that happened, what I'm about to tell you, like after everything happened, we were talking and she told us that. And it's like, they blame it on you instead of like saying like, we're sorry, we are not in, I don't know, like telling you a better excuse. Like, I don't know, just right now, maybe you're not aligning exactly with what we're looking for or whatever, but like, you can always join next semester. I don't know, be nice about it. But no. And there was another guy who he was asked in the interview like what were his like biggest like weaknesses or like his biggest like flaw and like his biggest like skill or like his biggest virtue or whatever. And I was asked that question too. And honestly, I didn't think about that question. So I literally said the first thing. I didn't want to think about it too much. So I was like, I said the first thing that came to my head, like the first like normal thing that came to my head, but like that came to mind. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, even I'm like, well, maybe I could have said something else, but I didn't even fucking prepare it. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine. And this guy was thinking a lot when it comes to he was asked about his biggest like flaw. And they kicked him out because of that. They were like, in the interview when you were asked about that, you were thinking a lot. So you're lacking auto criticism, I guess. You're not very autocritical. And we value that a lot in our association, so you're not in. Like, literally, maybe you were thinking a lot about that, but maybe the thing that you were thinking about, you're like, maybe I can't say this, so I'm gonna think about something else. Or maybe he was just not expecting it. You know what I mean? It's not that you're not autocritical. You just, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It doesn't have to necessarily be that. And like, they tell you, like, it's because of you. You're not autocritical, and we're looking for people who are autocritical. So you're out. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was not ethical. It was not even professional. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was very, I don't know. It's like confronting you for your flaws or your mistakes or whatever. And it's like, this is why you're not in. You're not worthy. You're not worthy. And I don't know, I didn't like that. Anyway, so this, oh my god, I've been talking for 25 minutes. Okay, this is when, and I'm gonna have to make this whole video like again in Spanish. Anyway, so, and this is where shit goes down. Okay, so we were going to this party. So we were going to play some games or whatever, like I think it was board games, and then we were gonna go party. No, we were gonna have dinner. Okay. And my friend and I, sometimes we would get, like if we were going to another city, sometimes we would gather either at the train station or at the bus station, whatever. And that time we were hanging out, we were meeting at the bus station. And my friend and I, the friend and I who like the one who was doorkeeping, yeah, I guess the one who was doorkeeping with me, and we went to the bus station. There was nobody there, not a single volunteer, not a single foreign student. We were like, is it in the train station? Did they change it? We checked out the group chat. No one said anything. She checked out the Google Forms again. They didn't change it, and it was like, it was here. Why is nobody here? And it was at this hour. Like, what the fuck? You know, did they change the hour? We don't know. Maybe they didn't tell us. They forgot to tell us. How could they forget to tell us? We were so fucking confused. We didn't see anybody. Okay, so she was like, I don't know if it's here. So I asked, is it in the train station? Not because we were fucking absent-minded, but because there was nobody there. But maybe I should have specified, there's nobody here. Around like 5 volunteers saw it within the first 2 minutes. Ain't nobody fucking replied. You guys don't know. You guys are not going. What's going on? You know, even if I was absent-minded as fuck, reply to me. Confirm to me that it's at this fucking station. Do you know what I mean? You can't be like, okay, this bitch doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Okay, I'm not even gonna reply. What kind of professional are you? You guys are being this... You guys are orienting us? Like, orienting us? Is that a thing? Is that a word? Like, you guys are telling us where to go. You guys are, like, training us. You know what I mean? You know, like, we depend on you. You guys are... You know what I mean? Like, you guys are responsible for the things that we do and how we do things or whatever. Like, you guys have a responsibility over us. Like, we are learning. We're, like, trainees. Or, like interns. You know what I mean? Like, you have a fucking responsibility. Nobody was telling us where the fuck it was. Do you know what I mean? So we saw nobody there, so we went on the bus, and as we were there, we were like, there's nobody here. And so we started going like, okay, we thought that nobody from that association was there because we didn't see anybody. And this is where we made a mistake. We started talking about it. First we were like, no, nobody's here, whatever, like, and then we started talking about like how it was very poorly organized. How could nobody tell us where it was? How could nobody reply to us? And then we started talking about everything, like everything that I just told you guys right now. We were talking about it, like poor organization, poor management, like they were passive aggressive with us, they were really demanding, they were blaming us on everything, you know what I mean? And we gave names, but like we gave like 2-3 names, and like I said, we were not insulting any of them, we were not laughing at anyone, we were not using bad words or anything. Like everything we were saying was true. Everything we were saying was what happened. You know what I mean? Like we were just, you know what I mean? Like we were telling what happened. Were we talking behind their back? Yeah. Was it not good things? Yeah, but it was what happened. You know what I mean? And at the end, I always suspected, what if somebody's here? You know? But like at first, like the first few minutes, we were confused as fuck. We were not even talking, quote unquote, talking shit or talking about them. So there was one volunteer on the bus. There was one volunteer on the bus. He didn't say anything. When we were like, okay, what's going on? Is it here? Is it there? He didn't say anything. He was like, like I said, they had a responsibility over us. He didn't say like, hey guys, I'm here. Like, you guys are not alone. Like, it's the 3 of us. I don't know. Nobody else came here. I don't know. But yeah, it's just the 3 of us. And like, we're going. You know what I mean? Like, he had that responsibility telling us, you know? We didn't see him in the entire bus ride. It was half an hour. We arrived. Okay, cool. Let's see where it is. We're gonna go to Google Maps, whatever, to see where it is. We find this fucking guy. He was behind us. And he talked to, I don't know, he stopped and talked to 2 people. We didn't know those people. And then those people left. And then he was taller than us. We are around, like I said, a 5'3" something. And so he walked past us. He pretended he didn't see us. And by that, I mean, like, he looked over us, not at us, but like he looked, you know, it's like, imagine I'm here, he was looking here. How could he not see us? Like, it was very obvious to me and to her that he saw us, you know what I mean? And that he heard everything, because how could he have ignored us? Like, it made perfect sense. He heard everything. And listen, we did not even mention his name. We did not talk about him at all. We never even mentioned anything that he did without saying names. Like, he never even, like, was there in the conversation. Do you know what I mean? Like, we didn't even talk about him. And here's the thing. If I was a volunteer and I hear two, let's say, trainees talking shit about, like, this person who's passive aggressive, the way that they do this is bad and whatever, like, I would be like, yeah, I agree, because, like, I wanted to be a volunteer and I agree with all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't take it personal and I wouldn't be offended and I wouldn't defend these people to death. Like, no, like, I'm part of this association. How dare you say that about my people? Your people? Like, I understand that, like, for some people that association was everything because maybe they don't have a job right now and they're not studying anymore. It's a student association. First of all, if you're not a student, maybe you shouldn't be there. I'm just saying. And maybe if you're 30 something and you're partying with 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, you're way too old to be with them. And there was volunteers who were surrounded by foreign girls. And it's like, you are 30 something. You're not even a student anymore. What are you doing with girls that are 20 a little bit, are, yeah, in their early 20s? Like, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. It's just wrong, you know? And nobody was calling them out for that. Nobody was kicking them out. Anyway, there were so many things that were wrong there. And there was 2 people who were accused of sexual abuse. We also mentioned that. So how could you defend the undefendable? You know what I mean? Like, how could he... Do you know what I mean? Like, how could he be like... Okay, I'm not saying he should, like, be like, oh my god, like, girls, I agree with everything that you guys are saying. I hate these people. No, obviously not. But, like, he pretended he didn't see us. He ignored us completely. I was like, he heard everything. He heard everything. He took offense and he left. We were like, we cannot go. We cannot go. So we ended up walking around that city. We didn't go. We were like, he heard us. Now he's going to tell everybody. The way that he ignored us, they were going to ignore us if we went there. We were like, no, it's going to be too awkward or whatever. And we were just freaking out. We couldn't believe what was happening. And we were like, you know what? At the end of the day, we came to the conclusion. We were like, hey, you know what? Before they kick us out, because they were definitely going to kick us out for talking about them, all that shit, even if it's true, we were talking about them and we were calling them out on everything behind their back, right? But we were calling out everything that was wrong with the association. So we were like, you know what? There were so many things that they did wrong. Matter of fact, everything that I just told you guys. So why should we wait for them to have the pleasure to kick us out? We can just leave. We can just send them the same exact message that they send people. And we could tell them, I can't read the message because I am recording with my phone, but filming with my phone. But I basically told them, like, hey guys, I just wanted to let you know that I'm no longer going to be able to be a part of this or whatever, so I'm leaving, because, you know, the way that this happened today. I sent them a message, at like around midnight, because they would also kick people out at midnight. So I was like, they shouldn't get offended if I do it. So, and I told them, hey, listen, this happened today. I asked them if it was here or if it was there. Ain't nobody replied. Even right now, I still didn't get a reply or whatever. Like, there were so many things that were very poorly organized where we didn't know what to do or whatever. And we were just like headless chicken and whatever. And like and also the way that some volunteers, not all of them, I emphasize not all of them, the way that they have treated like other volunteers and people that were, you know, trainees, let's call them, was not ethical and professional. So this is why I can't be part of this association, and that's it. And then fast forward the day after, they were like, hey guys, one of the guys from the association was like, hey, I saw that you left the group chats, like, is everything okay or whatever? And I was like, yeah, I sent you guys a message saying that I was leaving. And he was like, oh, okay, was there anything in particular that you want to, like, you know, emphasize, like, any, like, behaviors or whatever that you want to point out? And I was like, no. Because listen, if I start giving them, you know, like, reasons or whatever, they're gonna probably give me reasons why I was not, like, perfect, like, either or whatever. And, like, I don't need that shit. You know what I mean? They were gonna be gossiping because, like, they knew, I'm pretty sure they knew that we were talking about them, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows now. And so they decided not to say anything like, hey, we heard that you guys were talking shit about us, whatever. So I was like, I'm not gonna give them any explanations, okay? Like, they already know, and I already said it. Like, you guys were not ethical, you guys were not professional, and this thing happened yesterday. So I think it's more than enough of a reason. My friend who also quit, she gave them a few reasons, and I think it was more than enough. So, like, you know, like, what she said and what I said was completely coherent. And and that's it. And we left. Do I regret it? Well, I don't really think about it. I didn't have a lot of time to do stuff. Like I wasn't having time to make videos. I literally would just leave the PhD and then just go to the parties, and sometimes I would leave even earlier because I have a quote unquote flexible timetable, but I know that I'm not gonna always have it, you know. It's gonna be heavier and heavier over time. And so I was spending less time doing the PhD because I went to these things, and I was also not spending time making content because I was going to these things. So in a way, I don't really regret it. There's a lot of things that I was looking forward to, like they were gonna do a picnic one day, they were gonna do a tour, they were gonna do theme parties, they were gonna do a bunch of things. They were also gonna travel, like we were gonna go to places. Like there was a lot of things I was excited about, but you know what? At the end of the day, what I really, really, really want is making content, and I can just hang out with friends and hang out with people like on my own. Do you know what I mean? Like life is not gonna end here, so yeah, I'm not really regretful. And it was a nice experience, even if it lasted 2 weeks. I just feel a little bit bad for my friend because maybe she wanted to be there more than I wanted to. I mean, we weren't gonna quit, but this happened, so we had to quit. They were gonna kick us out anyway, so we didn't give them that pleasure. So yeah, this was everything that happened. I don't think I'm missing anything. If I miss anything, I guess I'll say it. But like in another clip or whatever. But yeah, this was everything. Like it took an unexpected turn. Like honestly, I think the thing that we can take away from this is, okay, like student associations are great, but like just because you guys are together and you have a sense of belonging does not mean that the people that you're with are perfect, you know? Like I was never going to be like, okay, these people are perfect, I'm going to defend them to death because I'm part of this association. No. And you guys are not even getting paid, like it's not even a job. Like I don't understand that amount of loyalty. Anyway, whatever. Or maybe it's because this person was like the rest. I don't know. Anyway, another lesson is do not talk about people in a public setting or in a public place or in public transport or on the street, because you never know who could be listening. Maybe it's one of them, or maybe it's somebody who knows one of them. I don't know. So be careful what you say in public, and don't having a sense of belonging or wanting a sense of belonging is not bad, but don't defend people. Don't defend the undefendable. Okay? And don't take things personal when we weren't even talking about you. So I think that was pretty much the lesson. So yeah, that was everything. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. So now I'm gonna make this whole video in Spanish. So wish me luck, guys. Bye.